Well, good morning and welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday. So, that person that you have been concerned about said something, or they did something to you, and it is really frustrating. And now you're hurt. Maybe you're a little angry, probably a lot angry, and you're having to deal with that. And sure enough, you are recalling that Jesus said we're supposed to forgive. In fact, he said you can't receive forgiveness if you're not giving forgiveness, but you don't want to forgive. You don't want to do that. You don't want, because you're afraid of what would happen if you forgive that person for what they've done or what they said or anything of that nature. So today, I want to talk about forgiveness. I want to talk about what it is, and most importantly, I want to talk about what it is not. Let's start with what forgiveness isn't, okay? Because that person has hurt your feelings. I mean, this is ultimately what happens to us, isn't it? Our feelings get hurt, and those are hard to get over. It really is. It's extremely hard to get over, and I understand that. And I just want you to understand, forgiving somebody doesn't mean you stop feeling the hurt that you have. And I think sometimes that's a misconception. Sometimes we think, well, how can I forgive them when I'm hurt? Well, you can. Because forgiveness isn't a feeling. It isn't, well, I don't feel like forgiving them. Well, probably not. and you may not feel like it for a long time. And I think that we need to understand that that's different, because forgiveness isn't about feeling like doing that. I just don't believe it. It isn't a feeling. You don't wake up one day and, whew, man, I really feel like forgiving them. Not usually. Now, spiritual work and the spiritual presence of God in your life can help you move through the emotional baggage that you're hanging on to. But forgiveness isn't about a feeling. It's like, well, I don't feel like it. I got to wait till I feel. No, if you're waiting to feel like it, you probably won't do it. And now you're going to do more harm to yourself than you would have otherwise. Secondly, forgiveness is not about pretending nothing happened. I think a lot of times we fear that this is what's going to happen. That if I want to forgive somebody, then I have to just go back and act like absolutely nothing happened. No, that's not true. Forgiveness isn't about that. It's not about pretending it didn't happen. Forgiveness isn't about pretending or making up an opportunity, releasing them of responsibility. We'll get there in a second. But forgiveness isn't about pretending nothing happened. And I think a lot of times we hold grudges and we don't forgive because we fear the ramifications. We fear the fallout. We fear that, well, if I just have to act like nothing ever happened, I can't do that. You're right. That's not true. Something happened to you. Somebody said something, somebody did something to you, and it hurts. And you can't feel your way out of that too quickly. And you don't need to pretend like nothing happened. So if I'm going to forgive an individual, it's not about me just acting like nothing happened. That would be hypocritical. Something happened, and it's real, and it hurts, and it's controlling my every point right now. That's, forgiveness isn't about pretending that nothing happened. All right, what's next? Forgiveness isn't condoning what the other person did. Now, this, I think, is one of the largest complications in forgiveness, is that people believe that we have to, if I forgive you, then I am implying that what you did is okay. And that's not true. Forgiveness isn't about condoning what that person did. I can forgive an individual and still talk about and share about that what they did was wrong. What you did is wrong. There's no way around that. You did something wrong. You may not, and here's the problem. That other person may not see it as wrong. That other person may not see that what they said was wrong. They may not see what they did was wrong. They may have rationalized that in their minds, that they didn't abuse you. They were just disciplining you. See how rationalization can work? Well, I was calling out the truth. Okay, but there's good ways to do that and bad ways to do that. And well, it was for their own good. Okay. But that doesn't mean the methodology in which we did it was appropriate. See, there's right ways to do things and wrong ways to do things, and sometimes we do it the wrong way. And to say that, well, if I forgive you, I have to say it's okay, that's not true. I can forgive somebody what they did to me and still want them to go to jail for what they did. Okay, that's two different things. Well, what? I've never heard this before. No, we often don't hear these kinds of things because we have made up things about forgiveness that it isn't. It isn't a feeling. It isn't pretending that nothing happened. It isn't about condoning what the other person has done. And it's not even about trusting the offender. You don't have to trust them to forgive them. I mean, Jesus is going to forgive Judas, but it doesn't mean he's going to trust him. Okay? I can forgive an individual, but it's on me whether I trust them or so. But wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. How can you honestly forgive somebody if you're never going to trust them again? It's called living in real life. That's what it is. See, we have to understand forgiveness isn't about you. Forgiveness is about me. And we're going to get there in a second, but forgiveness isn't about you or the offender. It's not about the offender. Forgiveness is about me releasing control of that situation over my life. Now, in that situation, you lost my trust. And I don't know about you, but trust is easy to lose and hard to gain. Trust is one action can warp trust. One action can trash the trust in a relationship. And it's going to take a long time to build that trust back up. The wife can forgive the husband of the adulterous affair, but it doesn't mean she's going to trust him for a long time. I've dealt with couples in that very situation. And a lack of forgiveness is what caused nothing to ever be able to happen in that relationship again. I mean, adultery is enough to warrant a breakdown of the relationship and a breaking up of the relationship. Understand that. If you really love the individual and you want that relationship to work, then forgiveness must come into play, but it doesn't mean I'm going to trust you. Not right now. Not right now. I'm going to wonder, you're 5 minutes late from work. What did you do? You know, you're working late again. What does that really mean? See, this is what we have to understand. Trust takes a long time to come back because trust is a choice and a feeling. Forgiveness is just a choice. It's not necessarily a feeling. If I'm waiting on a feeling, I'm going to be waiting a while. So forgiveness, if I forgive you, if a parent forgives the child who is in all kinds of bad behavior, bad habits, bad actions, I can forgive them, but it doesn't mean I'm going to trust them. I'm not going to trust them right now. It's going to take a long time to earn that trust back. Finally, forgiveness isn't about relieving the offender of responsibility. Now, this is very much tied to the condoning what the person did. On the one hand, we don't want to forgive because I don't want that person to think that what they did was right. Secondly, I don't want to forgive them because if I forgive them, it means that they now have no responsibility for what they did. That's not true. I mean, if you want to make it that way, you'll never forgive anybody. But if you want to live a healthy, strong emotional life, a healthy emotional life, a healthy relational life, and a healthy spiritual life, we must learn to forgive. But you got to do it right. If I forgive you and then relieve you of all responsibility for what you've done, that's not helping you, and it's only setting me back up for failure again. Oh, so what are you saying? You can't trust anybody? No, I trust certain people. I don't trust everybody. I used to be a very trusting person until I got burned too many times. Now, I'm just being real. I don't trust a lot of people in my life. There's not a lot of people that I trust. Now, I'll forgive, but it doesn't mean I'm going to trust what you did. That person that betrayed me a few years back, hey, it doesn't control my life today. It's not, I don't hate that person today. I don't trust them because I forgave them. I have forgiven what they did. Well, if you did, then why are you still bringing it up? Because it's something that happened in real life. It really happened. It's not a made-up tale and a made-up story. It happened. You see, this is where we have to understand what forgiveness is. It isn't a feeling. It isn't pretending nothing happened. It isn't condoning what the person did. It isn't trusting that other person immediately or implicitly. It isn't relieving the offender of the responsibility. So what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a choice to release. It's a choice to release the control of the situation. I'm just going to put all three up right now. Forgiveness is a choice to release it. When you harbor a grudge, when you hold on to that offense and you start to let it make you feel good about yourself or make you feel stronger or empowered, really what is happening is the offense and possibly the offender is controlling you. Forgiveness says, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to release this situation out of my life. I'm going to release it to God. I can't control it any longer. In fact, it's controlling me. I want to release this control factor. I'm going to release it to God. And I'm going to spend time praying to God to help me forgive. I'm going to pray to the Lord to give me the strength to forgive. But I want this out of my life. A second thing that forgiveness is I'm more interested in tomorrow than yesterday. I'm more interested in tomorrow than yesterday. I don't want to look back. I don't want to continue to look back. I want to look forward, but I can't do that if I have these chains of unforgiveness shackling me to events prior in my life and stones in my life prior. I can't move on because I'm pulling too heavy of a load. I keep looking back. You know, how do you know if you forgive them? Here's something. If that person that's offended you, you're avoiding them in the supermarket, if you're avoiding them at the grocery store, if you see them in Walmart and you go 2 aisles down, you say, I don't really need what I wanted on that aisle anymore, you haven't forgiven them yet. Hey, hang on a minute. No, it's true. You're still letting that person control you. If you can't walk down that aisle, if you can't pass them by on the sidewalk without crossing the street and walking on the other side, they're controlling you. You're allowing the offense and the offender to control your actions today. You're letting that control how you behave today. It's no good to allow that to happen. You've got to let it go. And you've got to choose to release, choose to move forward, choose to let it go. And in that moment, you're going to see and feel a sense of peace in your life, gain a little bit of control back in your life, because forgiveness is a spiritual action. It's a choice that you make. I hope that you'll choose forgiveness. People hurt us all the time. People have hurt us all the time. People continue to hurt us, and it's the reality of life. It's the human nature for these things to happen. But what you do with it or don't do with it is your choice. You don't have to relieve them of the responsibility, but you don't have to hold on to the pain. You don't have to give away your power to other people. Hold on to that. Let the Spirit of God guide you and find your way to choosing forgiveness.